Hey guys, welcome to the channel, and what we are going to talk about today is some audio and video settings that you need to change for your Xbox Series X to get the best experience from your television and home entertainment system. So we are going to run through some display settings. Should you play games in Dolby Vision or should you leave it at HDR10? What audio settings work best? Like the PS5 video we did earlier, there we spoke a little bit about Sony's 3D audio for headphones, but on the Xbox Series X you can use the Dolby app to get Dolby Atmos with headphones and DTS as well. So which settings really work? Also the best calibration settings, especially if you're someone that has a budget TV. So take a look at this video, change the settings when you are gaming on your TV, and let me know your experience in the comment section below. So when it comes to the Xbox, the settings are quite different from the PlayStation 5 in terms of the details that you get. So let's quickly jump right into it. Right on the top, this is the newer Xbox UI that we have, and when you go into the settings, in general you will have both the options, which is for TV display options as well as audio options. So let's start with the TV and display options. Right, the resolution, of course, because I have a 4K TV, I have chosen it at 4K, but if you have a 1440p monitor or a 1080p monitor or TV, you can choose that as well. And if some of you are rocking a really old TV, then 720p is here as well for you to manually choose. And of course the refresh rate, I have a TV that supports 120 Hz, so that is enabled out here. Device controls basically lets me use stuff like HDMI CEC, which means that if the TV switched on, the Xbox comes on, and vice versa. I keep it at off because multiple people use this TV for multiple reasons, and I don't want them to switch on the TV, come to an input, and the console comes on. So I recommend you can leave this off if you have a same problem, or if you just want to press the Xbox button on your controller and the TV comes on as well, you can keep HDMI CEC on and then choose the options that you want. I prefer leaving it at off. Night mode is something I recommend you keep off, because if you keep it on, as you can see on the right up, which is grayed out, that it dims the display, and I feel that this kind of pulls the HDR experience down, especially if you have a nice high-end TV. But if you have a budget TV, again, I recommend you switch HDR and keep it off. So night mode, in my opinion, is off. We're going to come to HDR calibration in a minute. Now, when you come to the 4K TV details out here, this is a great option for you to check out the resolution and the frame rate that your TV supports. Like this TV, for example, supports 120 Hz refresh rate as well, and it also supports Dolby Vision gaming, which is a bit of a question these days whether you should play games in Dolby Vision or not. We'll come to that in a minute. Now, I'm not going to run through the details of calibrating your TV, because this involves you actually going into the settings of your TV and changing things like the brightness and the contrast to ensure that you are getting the best experience. So even the aspect ratio, this is way more detailed than what you get on Sony's system, but it is a great way to know whether you are getting the most out of your Xbox or not. This is a great example, and you may not be able to see my correct calibration because I'm shooting this from a camera, but you can actually control the brightness and the backlighting of your TV to ensure that you don't see the eye which is shut off and you can see the one that is open. Out here it gives you kind of a frame of reference to see if you are right. Again, in the next you have to adjust the contrast so that you barely see the large sun above, and again it gives you a reference out here to see if you've done it correctly. And then when you move again ahead, it gives you more brightness options so that you should also be able to see the distinct blocks which are below. And I've actually spent a lot of time changing the settings of my TV to ensure that I get the best possible output out here as well. So calibration for your TV, this setting is for those of you that really want to get into the nitty-gritties, but I have a shortcut that I'm going to show you right now. First of all is when you go into the settings of your TV. Now I have a separate video that is detailing all these settings that I'm talking about, and you can go and check it out. First of all, you should keep your picture as game mode and switch off any artificial post-processing that is there. The OLED light is something that I generally leave at 100. It is down now because I was tinkering with some of the settings for this video. And of course, when you go into the picture options, there are many of these which should be off, especially motion eye care, so that you don't get any form of smoothing. Now, one more thing to note is that you should go into the additional settings and ensure that HDMI ultra deep color is on for the respective HDMI port, so that you are getting full HDMI 2.1 features. If you have a slightly older TV that supports HDMI 2.1 where you need to manually toggle it, some of the newer TVs let you toggle this automatically. And of course, for other settings settings to get the best experience from your TV, I have a video that you should definitely check it out. Now, the calibration of HDR for the Xbox is also very cool. It is quite different from what you get on the PS5, and I've already done this, so I'm going to run through this. Basically what I do is, once again, like I said in my PlayStation video, whenever I'm gaming in the day or the night, it takes me 2 minutes to change these settings because it just gives that much of a better experience, especially if you know that in the daytime you have a nice high-end TV in a brightly lit room, so the black levels are going to look a little different, and similarly in the night you can see the black slightly more deeper, and then you should definitely calibrate the HDR if you are changing the lighting in your room. And this is something that I really appreciate the way Xbox does it, is if you can see the image on the right where the sun is, there's a bit of a burn happening because it's uncalibrated. You can't see the specular highlight details next to the sun. By specular highlights, I mean that, like you see on the image on the left, you should be able to see the sun and the clouds very closely around it, which means it's calibrated. Also, the details and the shadows of the rocks on the left are something you should be able to see more clearly. On the right, you can see those quite clearly, but on the left, it is equally clear with the specular highlights, which is the bright sun. And I am in a relatively brightly lit room, so if I'm on a game in the night, I am going to go back and change these settings as well. And once you're done with these settings, you can play a game like Dirt 5, for example, or even Forza or Gears to just get a great experience of what it's like. And of course, you can go and check out the details of what your TV supports. So yeah, if you have a budget TV, I would highly recommend switching off HDR, and you can't do that in the calibration menu. You go out here on the advanced in video modes, and as you can see out here, it says auto HDR, which you can leave it at auto if you want to, let the system decide if a game supports it or not. But I would recommend that if you don't have an HDR enabled TV, or rather if you have a budget TV, then you may want to try switching off all the HDR options out here and then playing a game. Trust me, when you play a game like Gears 5, which has great sequences in the day and the night, or if you play a game like Doom Eternal, which is just so vibrant, or a game like Gears 5, it is going to make all the difference because you are going to be able to enjoy it without HDR on a budget TV, because SDR on those budget TVs really looks great and sometimes HDR looks lackluster. However, on a high-end TV, I would recommend you play with these settings. Sometimes there are games like Halo Infinite, for example, which may not have the best experience when it comes to Dolby Vision, so you may just want to switch this off at that point in time. So that was for the display settings. Now when it comes to the audio settings, this I was tinkering around with, but what I would normally use is stereo uncompressed. Now this is the same as the linear PCM which you get on the PlayStation 5, which is basically uncompressed audio. And because I have a 2.1 sound system, I would highly recommend that if you have a 2.1 system or even a 5.1 system, there are times when you can use the 5.1 and the 7.1 uncompressed depending on the home theater or soundbar that you have. But if you're using the TV speakers or if you're using a 2.1 soundbar, then stereo uncompressed works really, really well. You can use Dolby Digital as well, but I would highly recommend using something like stereo uncompressed. It works great. And if you have invested in the Dolby Atmos app, and if you've purchased that, then you can use Dolby Atmos for home theater. I used to use this when I reviewed soundbars. And if I get in some soundbars for review, I definitely turn this on and check it out. But yes, most of the time I use it as stereo uncompressed. And because I have the Dolby app, sometimes I try out the Dolby Atmos for headphones. But honestly, I think I get best channel separation when I use stereo uncompressed. Unlike the PlayStation 5, where you have some 3D audio that you can tinker with, out here you can just play some content and keep changing these settings to see. Also, you can check out the details of the audio that your system supports, because you can check that out here. I have Dolby Atmos support because of HDMI connectivity, but it does not support DTS-X for the home theater or headphones right now, because I need to purchase the app, which is for about 1500 rupees. If you're someone that has a pair of DTS headphones, I recommend you go ahead and do that. Otherwise, stereo uncompressed, in my opinion, gives the best experience, especially for single player games. And yes, Dolby Atmos for headphones is also a very good option if you're just playing single player games. And of course, if you're playing multiplayer games online, then there are many options for you to choose from. So there you have it, guys. That was a quick look at some of the settings that you should change when you want to get the best audio and video experience from your TV. Like I said, switch off HDR if you can, because if you are playing games on a budget HDR TV, you aren't going to get the best experience. And while you can't just generally go and switch off HDR out here, you can actually go into the picture settings of your TV and switch off HDR from an external input, which will really help you get the best gaming experience out there. So thank you so much guys for watching, and for more from the world of gaming consoles, TVs, technology, you can subscribe to the channel. Do you want to see a switch settings for a high-end TV as well? Let me know in the comment section below and I'll work on that one. But for this one, it's me, Samir, signing off. We will see you in another video. It's goodbye for now.